Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to learn how to lead a healthy lifestyle by talking to a clinical dietitian. Her story just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
It's funny how you remember moments in your life. I was in high school. I was 17 years old. I'm sitting on the couch with my dad. I'm eating a big bowl of ice cream with a lot of chocolate syrup on top, and he's eating a salad. And my dad says to me, he says, "You know, son, you're burning more calories right now eating that big tub of ice cream than I am right now eating this healthy salad. But one day that will change." And boy, was he right. I'm now 59, and I do have to watch my weight, and I'm the one eating the salads right now. To talk about a healthy lifestyle, let's have Perla Eidson come join us. She's a clinical dietitian. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's start with the comment I just made. I mean, when we're young, you can pretty much eat anything and get away with it, but your metabolism changes.
Yes, and their needs are changing, and so we don't know the repercussions of our eating as we grow up because we just think we want the pleasure and of course our bodies are new and they're able to take it, but as we grow we start to realize that we need to revise our diet and that it will definitely impact our life, and especially where eating healthy is much cheaper than staying sick and quality of life. So
absolutely. And I know you're passionate about prevention. And there's an old saying, food is medicine. And every time we put something in our mouth, we are contributing to a healthy lifestyle or unhealthy lifestyle.
Yes.
Talk more about that.
Sure. So, people want the easy. It's a busy life here, and popping a pill sounds very practical, but nothing that's in the pharmaceutical world doesn't come with 100 side effects. And so, yes, it requires work, but it's about learning to be disciplined, and it's much simpler than we think if we get educated. And I know that going out and about to buying things as we're becoming more educated is becoming trickier. But yes, eating healthy and eating a variety of diet is a necessity that we need to do to, bring our lives to be healthy and work well.
Sure. We've got some video of just healthy eating. And I know the Mediterranean diet gets a lot of publicity because it is a largely healthy diet, is it not? Talk a little bit about the Mediterranean diet.
Yes, so it's very large amount of grains and vegetables. Olive oil is the source. One of the things that a lot of inflammation comes in this country is these oils that are liquid oils that are not olive oil, canola and grapeseed and processed vegetable oils that are very inflammatory. So they use more like grass-fed butter. And so those are going to be ways that is much healthier. Fish, they do a lot of fish and lean cuts of meat. So it's a very covered diet that doesn't limit anything, but it's rich in natural oils and in natural fibers too.
And the key is to really find something that you can stick with, because I'm told that almost all diets work for a very short period of time, but some of them are really hard to maintain.
Yes.
And I'm sure since you got into the business, you've seen dozens and dozens of books. We can name them: the Sugar Busters diet, the Caveman diet.
Absolutely.
Everybody has diets, and you can read all the books and go on all the diets, but if you can't stay with it, it doesn't really help.
Absolutely.
Talk about the importance of finding something you can live with.
Yes, and that's the beauty with food, is something that's across the cultures. It doesn't matter from birth all the way to even when I had to work with hospice. Food becomes still at the death. Family wants them to eat. They feel that not eating is significant in their impact of their quality of life, and they suffer to see their loved ones not to eat. But anyway, what we can do is that we sympathize to learn the background of what their ethnicity is, what foods they eat, and from that foods that they eat, we develop the plan.
Sure.
The closer we get to where they are, it's going to be easier. But there's a diet that can be made based on the preferences, their economical status too.
Sure.
So we put all that in perspective.
And I can speak from myself that we grow up with these ideas. Like my mom always told me clean my plate.
Yeah.
But if you go out to a restaurant, sometimes the plate's this big, and if you cleaned your plate, that's like 3 meals.
Yes.
So
we used to call it portion distortion.
Yes.
We want more for our buck, and but we just have to have the mindset to say, well, it's a large portion. That's great. I can just put half of it and take it home and eat it for the next day. But yes, definitely, we're in this oversurplus, and now with this panic of food availability, people are starting to want to eat more.
Sure.
Or the mindset that healthy food is more expensive. So it's just knowing how to buy things and organize your groceries. Even for that, there's an education how you can go to the groceries and do your list before going there, not going hungry and just getting what you're not supposed to, because you're going to eat what your pantry has. So we want to make sure that you have a prepared list so that you have an assigned meals through the week. Then just allow hunger to kick in and just grab the first thing that you have available. So
Absolutely. And you mentioned hospice care and acute care. We've got some video that we're going to put up on the screen. Tell us about your work with people at the end of life.
Yes. So, it was just a surprise to me because the hospice care was done at home. So I drove to patients' home, and that's when you realize that even within culture or age, because I had young people in the dying place or older people, is that at the end we're all frail, and the things that matter is love and family, and food still plays a huge role because hospice has changed from a place of 3 months and dying to a management of a quality of life that the patient's progressively deteriorating, but we're still working with their nutrition, and they still wanting to make sure that we can give them the pleasurable foods, but at the same time they can have healthy foods in their dying time. So it was a very rewarding, unexpected, place that learned how nutrition still played a role in those diseases that are progressive, and we're not using aggressive medical management. We're doing more palliative, but it could be years. And so we still work with them. And, it was a great experience.
Absolutely. I talked to you just before the show and I said, is there a patient that comes to mind when you think about why you do what you do? Would you share that story?
Absolutely. I feel that there was several patients in my life, but one of them that struck into me was more the understanding of the importance of nutrition. And we have always learned what is important until we don't have it. Like scurvy in the boat, when people didn't have it, they had the bleeding gums, and vitamin C is important. And she had a gastric bypass that went wrong. They said GBGB, gastric bypass gone bad, little slogan. So my thing is that she came to us and she had from head to toe every sign of micronutrient, vitamin, mineral deficiency. And for the first time, I was exercising as the center doctor, using nutrition purely to restore her. And there's an art for that, because while we want to just feed them immediately, there was a process for the body to readjust after months and years that she had declined, and rebuilt her skin, rebuilt her immune system, her gut. It was a rebuilding of her entire body from being depleted from nutrients. And it was in engineering, again, I got to see the impact of every single nutrient in her body. Anyway, it was the greatest experience in regarding to what we do that we were able to tangibly get to see in our patient, and also an experience for all the doctors too, because it wasn't a very unique case. So.
Well, and that speaks to, one, your passion for your patients, and also the idea that it's really never too late to start a healthy habit.
Absolutely.
So in the little time we have left, talk to the viewer there on the left and just talk about why it's important for you to make lifestyle changes right now.
It is very important because the basis of all illness is oxidation, inflammation, and toxicity. And today we're living in a place where our water, our air, we're just in a soup of toxicities, and we need the right nutrients to clean our body, to optimize our health, and realize that we're living in a diet today that the industry, if we're not well read into the ingredients that are contained, we're going to be bringing into our system a lot of things that will make us ill. So, it's not only about knowing fruits and vegetables that we're supposed to eat, but eating a cleaner diet, that the fresher the meals are, the less ingredients, then we're making sure that what we're putting in is right. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's a great way to end this. We're also going to leave with the LinkedIn page. Go ahead and put that on the screen, and then that's how you can get a hold of Perla Eidson. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It was nice to meet you. Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.